What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Marvel Rivals spectating video, and today we are going to focus our attention on a replay of The Thing piloted by a player named Hogs. I don't know him personally or anything about this Hogs guy, but he's currently 26th on the leaderboard, and he's played a solid amount of The Thing so far. He's got a good grasp on it. He plays it more than anyone else I can find that's this high ranked. His match history is hidden, but I managed to find another game that wasn't on his profile, but it was from someone else's profile. I managed to find a game, and that's the game that we're going to be looking at today. Before we start, though, in ranked, I often play Groot. I'm like 24-4 on Groot at a Grandmaster level here. I'm sort of looking for a second tank to add to my rotation, just in case Groot, there's a bad matchup or he gets banned or something like that. So in this VOD review, I'm going to be looking for a couple things. I want to see how the Thing stays alive and sustains himself, when he engages or disengages from fights, and kind of like when he decides to use his ultimate ability, if he's trying to counter something or if he's trying to initiate with it. These are the things that I'm going to be trying to pay attention to specifically in this VOD review. I understand the fundamentals quite well of the Thing. I'm just kind of looking for some more advanced techniques, seeing what we can learn from a clearly proven top 500 player, and we're just going to try and learn from it. Okay, so let's get into the game and get this thing going. Okay, so the match just started, and there's already kind of a good example of something that happened here very early on. Before we get into that, I just want to quickly look at the team. So we've got two tanks. Hogs has a Doctor Strange with him. Their healers are Luna and Adam Warlock. They've got an Iron Fist and a Storm. Storm's really good on this map. Well, she's good everywhere now, I guess. And they're against a team with also has the Thing, Magneto. The two healers are Luna and an Invisible Woman. They've got a Winter Soldier. And then they have a Spider-Man who kind of goes against the game plan of the other five. The other five are pretty stable. They want to play together, and then Spider-Man's going to come on in. But what we'll see here early on is the Spider-Man comes in, immediately going for the Luna. And Hogs here on the Thing is really paying attention to that. He didn't just run in and try and smash some enemies or something like that. He's sticking with the team, with the payload, and he's actually supporting his Luna here. And what he does is slam the ground with his shift. And now the Spider-Man can't web away because he can't use mobility skills when he's stuck in this. Okay? And this leads to a Spider-Man pick. Pretty much instantly. As soon as the fight started, Spider-Man is dead. So already they're kind of getting some momentum from that. Okay, so we're just a couple seconds from the Spider-Man kill. He's sticking to the payload pretty much. He's going to use his E to get to the high ground. They need to force these people off the high ground ideally, right? If you're all down here and they all get to sit up here and down here and just shoot you from above, it gives them an advantage, right? So he immediately comes up here and he's trying to force them off, which he does successfully to the Magneto. He uses his shift again, and he's back to spamming right clicks. Now, I don't know if you guys know it or not, but when the Thing uses his right click punch, and he winds up and swings it, he actually gets a 50 health shield every single time he right clicks. So keep that in mind. It does provide a little bit of sustain for you, right? And of course, whenever an enemy hits you and you're shielded, it doesn't count towards their ultimate charge. So even when you're just standing there in the open, he can just spam right clicks. Even though he's not going to hit anybody, he might as well use your right click and get some shield from it. Okay. So, a couple things here. We're just going to go back really quick. He's using the payload a lot to provide himself with cover. He's saving his E charges so he can get out of the fight if he needs to. And what he does right here is actually he uses his shift to go back towards his team. I think he felt like he was in a little bit of trouble. He's up close and personal. These guys moved up on him. So he uses his shift to get out of the situation and come back to his team. And it almost leads to a pick on the Spider-Man again. He got shielded so he could get out of there. But he's playing very, very stable, slow and steady. He's not just running into the fight with his shift, trying to smash somebody and then use his E to get out. Not yet, anyway. It's been slow and steady so far. Okay, so this is just a few seconds later. There's kind of a lot going on here at the start of the match, which usually happens on this map. But I want to show you a little technique that he does here, where he's hiding behind the payload and just jumps to punch. So he's using the little bit of range that the thing's right click has, and using that while hiding behind his, protecting most of his body from you know, range damage and stuff. But he's still getting a couple shots in and poking at them. And then what he does here is kind of interesting. So he actually uses his shift and goes... I mean, it's kind of weird how he did it, but he went through the window, comes through the doorway, and actually gets behind the enemy thing and manages to slam the ground. So the enemy thing cannot use his shift ability right now. Okay? Or his E, sorry. Either one. And it forces the enemy Invisible Woman, it seems, to use her ultimate. Because they almost picked him off and he was stuck. He couldn't use any mobility skills. So he kind of looped around him from the side and landed a really cool shift. So I thought that was kind of unique. They're back to a big standoff here. Of course, Storm ulted into the Invisible Woman ult, but we finally get to see Hogs use his first ult. So it is chaotic here. Lots is going on. If we go back really quick here, just to when he ulted. I think he's trying to time it for the end of the Invisible Woman ult, and he does, and it's pretty good timing. And it forces the Luna to ult then too. I mean, it's a good spot for him to use it. He got value out of it. Yeah, it doesn't lead to like some crazy big kills or something, but you don't need to do that. The main thing you want to do is have a plan and try and just be consistent and get value out of all your ults. So now his team knows that the enemies do not have any AoE ults left. And that's a big part of this game if you haven't noticed. So here he actually gets a kill on the enemy Invisible Woman. Smacks her right in the face. So I think the Luna got caught switching from heals. No. They just out-damaged her. Just killed her quick. So he gets the first pick of the game, really. That is really meaningful. Okay, so we've skipped ahead a little bit. Not much happened after that team fight. But they're trying to cap. The payload's coming. And Hogs is camping the wall here. And he's just lining up right clicks and just trying to turn and hit anyone that approaches. So he's hugging the wall. He's not charging into them again. He's playing defensive. This whole game so far, if you've really paid attention, he hugs the team. He hugs the payload very closely. He's not playing ultra aggressive. He's just playing solid and steady. And here, so they finally charge him on the wall, and he just puts down his shift. He's trying to stop any mobility skills so they can't come around the corner. And I mean, he almost makes it so they can't contest the payload here. But he's just trying to hold that corner, right? All right, so some ults start coming out. Ryan Gosling apparently is in the game. He picks 2. Hogs pick the Spider-Man. He follows his Storm there. As you'll see, the Storm ulted, and he followed the Storm ult right and dived into the Luna. So they get the pick there. That's a smart play. E's back to support his own support character. Lands some good punches here. Lands the flick punch on the Spider-Man. And they've got the first point. He didn't have to use his ult for a second time there. So you'll notice he's really got his head on a swivel. From using his shift and going in and following the Storm, right? That was obviously a big play. To diving back and, you know, he goes forward here, helps secure this kill, and then he immediately is looking back towards the back line, and he eases onto his Luna and saves her life, right? Stays on the point, cleans it up. Okay, so this is after that last team wipe that they just had. The payload's pushing up, and his team's moved all into this area here. And Hogs is trying to do something that, I mean, I don't go for too often myself, but He's going for a sneaky little play here. He's got his ultimate up still. And he's trying to go for the big alt flank here. All right, he's hiding up above them. What they're trying to do here is basically, if they can just use like one good ult here and surprise the enemy team and maybe kill 3-4 of them, maybe to wipe the whole team, whatever, they get to push this payload all the way to the next point, basically, to the next contention point, and the enemy team doesn't get to use this area at all to defend. It might be partly that they're being kind of cheeky because they, you know, move through the enemy team quite easily during the first point, but anyway, he's going for the big play here, okay? So we'll see what he does. He's patient. His timing's not bad. He's trying to hit the Luna, the Magneto, and the enemy Invisible Woman the way that he aimed it. He hits the Luna, and they go for the Luna. But we'll go back and see it from his view. Goes for the Luna. Almost gets her. Runs out with his shift, but he dies anyway. So where was his team? What happened exactly? Did he make a smart play there, or is he just being you know, a little bit greedy there? So his team is actually, remember, he's the red team here. His team is actually back fighting the Winter Soldier and the Spider-Man. A couple of them anyway. He doesn't really have proper support. And the Iron Fist actually goes for the other support character. So if they had actually like worked together and the Iron Fist jumped in on the Luna at the same time that he ulted him, I think this would have been a completely different situation. They would have killed the Luna very quickly and they could have focused on the Invisible Woman together. But instead, it's kind of all over the place, and then the Thing takes off. Iron Fist is still in the mix. The Spider-Man did his job, where he's drawn the attention of a bunch of them, right? So they're not there to help the Hogs out. And anyway, it ends up where he uses his ult, they don't get a kill from it, and he dies. But the fight's still on. There's still some, you know... It was this close to being swayed the other way, potentially, right? So overall, good try. Probably a little cocky, though. Okay, so we're still fighting for this same choke. They're still on offense. And the Luna's using her ult here. I just want to show you something here. So the Thing's ultimate can be used through the payload. So he uses it right through the payload there after the Luna ult expires. And he jumps on her immediately. She gets shielded and well protected and everything else. And his team is back here. They got to pick on Spider-Man at the same time. They're very distracted. But he distracted their team to basically secure a kill for his team. And it worked out. But yeah, just keep in mind, you can actually use your Thing ult right through the payload. And it seems to hit. So now, something interesting that happens here after is they decide to dive all the way in because they know the enemy team has no support ults left. They've already been used. But what you'll see happen here is Hogs is in the 3v1 all by himself, and the Magneto seems to be distracting the other 5 of them by himself. Kind of an awkward situation. So Hogs is over here fighting them both, and he actually gets so close to taking out the Invisible Woman. Again, if he had any support, if the Iron Fist or somebody was there to help him, even a couple more heals, if he could get one more right click off here, it might have led to a kill. Here comes his Luna, but she's late. So, did Hogs do his job here? Well, kind of when you think about it. He took out the healers from the fight and one of the tanks. The enemy Magneto used his ultimate and died. Right? And so Hogs died and the Magneto died. So that's a wash, basically, right? And now his team feels like they can push up even more because they got the other pick as well before. And now they snowball it. So although it kind of looks like, depending on who you ask, that Hogs inted, you know, why are you fighting 1v3 way out in the back? He actually drew a lot of attention from them, almost secured a kill, did it with no heals put on him. And overall, not a bad play, right? Okay, so we're a little bit more ahead of that again. Now we're fighting in this everyone's favorite choke point here. And I just want to show you some little trick to think about. So the enemy thing has his ultimate, and he's about to use his ult like that, and Hogs uses his own shift, which grants him CC immunity entirely from stuns and everything, to dodge the ultimate and not get stunned. So we'll go back and you'll see it in slow motion here. I think he can see him turn, and that he just thinks he's going to use it. He slams the ground, and Hogs immediately hits shift, so he does not get knocked up or stunned by it. And then secures the counter kill. Now, one thing he does here, which I don't really like, he has a sick right click that hits, like, all 4 of them, pretty much, right? But then he immediately cracks his ult, even though they are in the enemy Invisible Woman ult, and, like, it just started, pretty much. It's, like, maybe 2 seconds into its duration. Now, he gets the 3-man knock-up, but it's just so hard to secure a kill inside of her ultimate. So, I mean, I think it's a little greedy. Maybe I'm not thinking of something that should have happened, but yeah, it doesn't lead to any kills while the ultimate's still up. So maybe he just misclicked. Maybe he got his timing wrong about when he thought the Invisible Woman ult was going to happen, or when it was going to expire, I guess. But I think he ulted too early there, especially with his Storm ult was coming up at the same time. They could have, used them together and probably wiped the whole team and secured this point for sure. But anyway, one cool thing, uses his own shift for the CC immunity to dodge ults. Remember that. Doctor Strange ult, for example, is another one where it's telegraphed. As long as you hit shift and you're like doing the dash part of it, you'll be immune to the stun. Okay, and then just nearing the end of the first round, they actually don't cap this. Hogs' team does not cap it. And it kind of just goes to show you that when he used his ultimate here, and I felt like he wasted it, if he'd held it for just a couple more seconds and he comboed it with the Storm ult, it might have been a very different outcome. They might have actually got this cap point. But the enemy team holds it. Hogs actually has his ultimate again here. Invisible Woman ults yet again. But all kinds of shit is going down, and the enemy Bucky starts killing everybody. So Hogs is dead. Enemy teams holds them to 1 point only in the first round, but basically 2, right? Okay, so we're at the start of the second round. Hogs is on defense now. And he's holding the high ground here. Basically, don't give them the high ground for free. And he's doing that technique again where start your windup and then turn the corner. Don't turn the corner and then punch. Start punching and then just turn the corner a little bit, and you can still hit them with it. And it's giving you that 50 shield each time. Basically, by him standing up here, it's saying, no, you can't just come take this for free. If you want it, you got to come and get it. But and then I like this. So the enemy team starts to ignore the top. They basically concede, okay, they have the advantage. We're not going to fight it, right? So they have to go this way. So he just hops down, uses his shift, runs around, and comes right onto the cart. Not a bad idea, right? Gets to the fight. Don't waste your time up there still. He's not going to do anything up there. Comes right down here and starts swinging. And just look, hit after hit after hit. And like I said, like he was doing before, just hugging the payload, throwing in the right clicks. Not using his shift unless he needs it for something, unless he sees something. Not using his E unless he needs to turn around, get out, or someone gets too far in. He's just playing very consistent and using the payload as a natural barrier, basically. It makes it look very easy when you just dumb it down this way, right? Anyone can do this, right? But they don't. They die all the time. Starts to take a bunch of damage. Uses his E, finally gets the damage reduction and gets healed back up. Ooh, that's tempting. I would have ulted there. Still hasn't used his shift. Just holding on to it. Uses the ult now. Gets caught in that ult. He could have shifted. And now he's shifting back into his team. So it's all chaos, right? It's crazy chaotic stuff, especially playing as the thing. But managing your resources, holding on to those the E especially gives you and whoever you use it on damage reduction, right? And you can use it twice in a row, basically. So using those to get damage reduction at the right time, using your shift to get the shield at the right time and making yourself CC immune. He used his shift to escape the fight there. He doesn't need to go for like the big play and go try and dive the supports and kill them. They're not shit at support. They will survive it most likely. With his damage alone, it's just not enough. So him playing on the back end, the defensive end, the whole game, even when he's on offense for the most part, it seems to be really working out well. Okay, so we're a little bit ahead here again. And they're still defending, and I just want to show you something here that I think is really important as well. Talking about his whole defensive strategy and just playing a little bit more rock solid, not going for the big offensive plays. He'd much rather play more defensive, right? So here he winds up, and he sees his Iron Fist in front of him, just surrounded by guys, right? So he starts winding up his swing, uses an E on the Iron Fist for the damage reduction, right? So he's getting chunked a little bit here. But he survives. He was healthy plus the damage reduction. And he cracks his shift. Okay? Now, for me and most other players, if I see this when I'm using my shift and I'm running right at these guys, I'd be like, oh yeah, like, let's fucking knock them all up. This is going to be sick, right? That's the big play. That's obvious, right? They're dead on right in front of him. He turns and comes back. He ignores it. He just loops around and says, forget it. Why? Because again, he's being smart. See? He's being defensive. He's on defense. He doesn't need to go make that big play, flub it up a little bit. Maybe he knocks a couple guys up, but maybe they just kill him in response, right? He's just standing there in front of them. So yeah, I think he makes the smart play there yet again, and just gets out, right? Okay, so then he just a few seconds later, as soon as his shift is up again, pretty much, he's in the open. It's a tough spot, but he's holding his ground. His healers are good. But here he gets scared. He uses his shift and immediately turns around and runs away with it. So he's saving it defensively. Remember, you don't do any damage when you're dead, right? And the thing is actually quite easy to kill. If he doesn't have any resources and he's right in front of you, right? There you go. He got stunned and stuff. There's not really much you could do. But he almost lived long enough to get his abilities off. Okay, and then last play of the game here, of the video. Enemy team trying to capture the first point. They're trying to pressure the wall just like he was doing when he was on offense. Punish people as soon as they come around the wall. Trying their best to hold the wall. The Iron Fist goes in. Hogs turned the corner and used his E right onto the Iron Fist. Perfect. And then he gets a sick ult off right here. So it's a great knock-up. Again, you can use it if they're on the payload. Invisible Woman manages to dodge it. But knocks up the Bucky, the Magneto, and the Luna. And tries to pummel the healer. Forces her to ult. But they still got the Winter Soldier before she could ult. So because she was stunned, she couldn't crack her ult. They killed the Winter Soldier, right? Obviously a big deal to get a Bucky pick at the beginning of a fight. But then he dies trying to hold on to the point. Nice Adam res, and he goes right back in. So now he's being offensive, of course, because they're trying... It's all or nothing, right? They're trying to hold this here. He knows it's a cracked open fight with the Adam ult being used. Now he's going all the way in. He actually looks up here. Okay, let's watch it here. He dies. We'll slow it down. He comes around the corner with his shift. His Doctor Strange has 10% HP. he looks up in the sky and uses an E charge on the Doctor Strange to give him the damage reduction as well. So yet again, keeping his head on a swivel, being aware of his surroundings, paying attention to everything else, not just I am the thing, I go smash things. No. He's a team player, right? This is the final fight, and he's just forcing them back. They're all lined up beautifully. These big punches. I mean, it's game over, right? GG. So, if we had to really, like, break it all down, right? Use the natural terrain of the map as much as you can and keep swinging those right fists. Most of the time, you're just going to swing right his right click, sorry. His ultimate, most of the time, he did use that, like, offensively. There's not really any defensive way to use it against this kind of enemy team anyway. It's not like they have a magic ult or an Iron Fist ulting and he's trying to, like, stun them in their ult or something. He's just using it to try and hit as many people as you can, knock up and kill some healers, and, you know, that's what he did it most of the time in this fight anyway. His shift ability, he used defensively a lot of the time, or he used it when trying to restrict their mobility. He's not using it to just try and run past everyone and knock up a couple healers and try and fight them. He's using it for its anti-mobility capabilities, and it's obviously it's like the shield it gives him and the fact that he's CC immune when he uses it. So very defensive minded. And then his E ability, he held on to his charges a lot. He only used them to try and save people or to get himself out of trouble for the most part. It's not like you saw the Iron Fist jump deep into the enemy lines and he followed immediately with his E. It just didn't happen very much. He was holding on to it, so if he needed to, he could turn around and jump back to his team and get out of trouble. So overall, I mean, I think it was a pretty good game by this guy. He played nice and solid. He basically had pretty good numbers to back it up. He did like 24k damage, 33,000 blocking. He didn't have too many dumb deaths, just the one, I think. That was kind of like, I don't know about that. But, you know, overall, just very solid play. And I think it really helps playing the thing when you have a second tank on your team. Solo tanking with this guy is just brutal. I mean, it's possible, but I'm all for 2-2-2 anyway. That's a different discussion. I'm all for roll Q and 2-2-2, but anyway, I hope some people learned something from this match. Me, especially knowing that you can just ult right through the payload, helps a lot. I hadn't really tried that or thought to do that. I assumed it would be blocked. So that's a good one for me. And then just like really paying attention to your E and your shift and trying to use it more team-oriented than use it thinking about what it can do for you and your team instead of just like, I'm going for the big play. That's how I'm kind of looking at it if I had to summarize it. But anyway, thank you for watching. We're going to try and end it here. I don't know how long this video will be, but I do stream pretty much daily on twitch.tv/Silva66. I have some other spectating videos as well. I'm trying to go through different characters, top 500, learn from them. So check those out if you want. I appreciate all the support, guys, and I will see you soon. Take care.